You're feeling everything in your fingertips through your hands like a bird. Everybody would ask, how long can it fly?
Larry from Evolution Aircraft, and he's got this awesome trike behind us.
Oh, this is the Revolt. This is a two-place machine with a 100 horsepower Rotax on it. It can be stored in a trailer in about 10 minutes. You can set it up with no tools, with one person, so you can literally take it where you want to fly and fly it. But it's also fast enough at 80 mile an hour cruise speed that you can fly to where you want to go as well.
So you said 80 miles an hour. So how does this sort of compare to like a trike with a chute? Because I don't think they're that fast.
Yeah, so we get a lot of people that come to this type of weight shift control trike from the paramotor world. And the biggest thing we hear the most of is that they get sick of having to put their aircraft away at 8 or 9 a.m. in the morning as the winds and the thermals kind of start. And they get sick of seeing the same 25-mile radius of where they launched. So this lets them get their reach out and see a little bit more, do a little bit more, fly all day long. They are a little bit wind sensitive, so you're not going to be flying in big winds most likely, although they can. They have a little bit more capability and all of the fun.
So what sort of winds can you fly in?
So I equate it like this. The machine is very capable with wind, so I have flown in 42 gusts on the ground. That was a lot for me, but it's kind of like getting a brand new motocross bike. It can maybe fly 100 feet through the air off of a triple jump, but if you've never ridden a motorcycle, you're going to be in a parking lot with it and then transitioning into the dirt and maybe some little bumps. So you have to build up to it, but it can do it.
So I was just speaking to your wife, and she said she flew this trike all the way from Tampa all the way here to Oshkosh in 2 days. So you can move cross country.
Absolutely, yeah. So Amy Mednick, she's an instructor and she loves flying trikes. So she's flown 2,500 mile cross country twice solo. We've done it five times together. So we've definitely made the trip more than a few times.
What about fuel burn and like fuel usage? Because obviously this looks a bit cheaper than an aircraft or a big helicopter.
When I'm flying around kind of normal, about 3.5 gallons per hour on this one. We also make an ultralight that burns under 2 gallons an hour. But when you're doing cross country, you tend to go a little higher, go a little faster, and your fuel burns usually around 5 or 5.5 gallons an hour. You can do 220 mile legs typically, factoring some wind, some alternate options, but I like about a 200 mile leg. So 200 miles, 200 miles, 200 miles, and that's the day.
And how long is roughly that? Like when you're up high cruising, how long are you up there for?
Our ground speed gets altered so much because we are a slower aircraft. So if our airspeed is 80 miles an hour, and of course we have a 20 mile an hour headwind, now we're only going 60. Or we've got a 20 miles an hour wind, we're going 100. So that's almost double the difference. So we get very, very big variations percentage-wise based on the winds, but we can always pretty much penetrate a headwind no matter what.
And I also noticed you got massive tires on this beast.
Well, these are the 21s, believe it or not, and I should have brought them for the show, but we have bigger tires than this. We have our Tundra tire option. The downside to the Tundra tire option is they're just for soft field only, but they'd be awesome out here on this lumpy grass. If you maybe got some video of that this week, it's not smooth. So yeah, it's definitely something that's made to not use runways, land in farm fields, desert, sand, all that good stuff.
So Larry, you and your wife obviously designed this whole trike from scratch. So have you put any unique features in here that just your aircraft has?
Yeah, absolutely.
All right, Larry, so what do we have?
All right, so several features on this machine you probably just won't find elsewhere. First off, this machine was built around the back seat. And we use primarily this machine for two things. One is I am in the back seat instructing this. I instruct about 80 hours a month, probably average around 50 or 60 at least hours. And so I live back here. This is my office. And I needed it to be two things. I needed to be comfortable. And most importantly, I needed to have a really good view so I'm not looking around the pilot or the student pilot who's in the front seat. The other thing that we do with it is we give a lot of introductory flights. So we have a lot of people who've never been in the aircraft before getting in and out of the aircraft. And so this is a running board and it's very unique to the Revolt. And that really allows people to climb up and get into the back seat very, very easily. And I should probably take the wing loose and show you how that entry gets into the back seat. So right now it's tied up, just in case the wind blows. But then this comes forward and you even have a step inside. So it's just a 1, 2, and you're into the back seat. And then when we were talking about cross countries, it was actually Amy, before we designed this aircraft, that was complaining. She had been in a little bit of a car accident. She had a sore shoulder, and we were doing very long legs for multiple hours, 8 hours a day. And the trike was pulling a little bit to the left, so we'd land. She says, Larry, can you tune the wing? This is what we used to have to do, is bend a batten, which is a wing rib, add a little bit more camber to it, a little bit of a black arc. And we'd do the next leg. Well, we were in there for another 2 hours. She said, now it's turning that way. And I'd tweak it a little bit more, and it was just right. But ultimately, we got back. She says, can you just design a button that you press so that if it's pulling a little left, I push the button a little bit right, and it's fixed in the air? I said, I can. And so we came up with roll trim, and this is the roll trim. This is the only weight shift control in the world that has electric roll trim. And so you just touch a button, and it's perfect. We also have speed trim, and so you can hit another button, and you can fly at exactly the speed that you want within your range. So this one's 50 to 80 miles per hour. We also make a go fast trike that's not here at the show, our Revo, and that one will trim it over 100 miles per hour.
Over 100 miles an hour
Yes.
in a trike.
Yes.
And I also noticed, I'm looking at the engine here, it's not just an engine, I see a big white cylinder. What is that?
This is our ballistic parachute, and so in the event of an emergency, you shut the motor off, you pull the red handle, and the entire aircraft comes down under canopy.
So it'll just come down straight and level onto the ground.
Absolutely, or in the trees or wherever you happen to be coming down. There's been a few saves, none with our brand, but we've seen it over the years, mostly with pilots maybe being a little bit foolish, flying into clouds, getting disoriented, and having an issue where they don't know which way is up. And they've pulled, and it's been very successful in a couple of instances.
All right, so I assume the big black cylinder underneath is the tank?
Yes, it is. And so this is an 18.7 gallon fuel tank, which is actually quite a large fuel tank for this type of aircraft. And honestly, this is a customer demand type of thing. Everybody would ask, how long can it fly? Finally, I just wanted to have a really great answer. So now it's over 6 hours flight endurance.
That is crazy.
Again, not at all trim speeds, but mostly what you'll use, you can fly in over 6 hours.
What's the benefit of having 5 blades instead of like the simple paramotor 2, 3 blades?
So the biggest, the first answer is thrust. And so when you're limited on diameter, so we can't really make the prop any bigger, then we can add more blades to get more thrust. Now, the downside to more blades is it's going to limit your top speed, but we're only going 80 miles an hour. So we want thrust. And the other thing that you get with more blades is smoothness. This propeller is unbelievable. It feels like a laser beam pushing you as opposed to a thumpy propeller.
When you say vibrations and smoothness, how does it handle turbulence? And does that reduce vibrations in it?
Well, as far as vibrations go, yes. In fact, this is the smoothest propeller out on the market. Each one of these blades only weighs 1 pound. So this is incredibly light propeller. This 5-blade weighs less than a lot of 3 blades. And so it's very, very, very smooth. And you have titanium leading edges on this, so we can even fly in the rain.
How can it handle turbulence?
Turbulence handling is really neat with a flex wing. You may not have noticed, but we are hanging like a pendulum from the wing, so we're not rigidly attached to the wing. So anytime you get an aircraft of any sort, especially like a fixed wing, that your pilot seat is attached to the wing, you're gonna feel every little tiny bump because you're attached to the wing. We're a pendulum, and so when the wing is taking all the abuse, we're just kind of moving around.
Just hanging there.
Yeah, and from the ground, people often see it and say, oh, does it feel like you're moving around a lot? From the ground, it looks that way, but when you're in the aircraft, you feel nothing.
What's a takeoff roll?
Yeah, so we've got over 500 pounds of thrust out of a 100 horsepower engine. And if you're just flying solo, you're off the ground in no wind and 180 feet with our speed wing, but you can reduce that to about 120 feet with one of our larger wings. That's one of the neat things about a trike. You're not stuck with just one performance package. We have a great big wing that can take off short and carry more. We have this wing that can go faster and farther, somewhere from 120 feet up to 320 feet, and every configuration is going to be the takeoff distance.
And then what about the landing distance?
That's going to be around 300 feet in all cases, so we recommend a 600-foot runway for this, and that gives an average pilot with margin for error a good minimum distance.
All right, so Larry, obviously people might just want to get in and fly this beast, so what license do we need to fly it?
Yeah, so the first question is really training, and I do want to touch on that. We say expect more than 10 hours of training and hope for less than 20. And that's even, I train a lot of commercial jet pilots that they expect to get it in a few hours. It really is a 20-hour transition typically. And so the license required in the US is a sport pilot license. And we also have the option of adding a weight shift control rating add-on to a private pilot or commercial pilot. And there's no requirements other than you've had the training, whether it was 2 hours or 20 hours. And then a second instructor can give the rating. So it's an actual rating you can get without an examiner, which is pretty neat.
Easy. All right, so speaking about an easy way to fly, what about an easy cockpit to navigate?
Yeah, it is very, very simple. Come take a look. So the first thing we have is our EFIS, which monitors our engine. And if you notice, we have an alarm going off right now. We got 2 warning lights. And we've got a red box. Since our oil pressure is low, well, of course it is. The engine's off. We can clear it like this. We have our airspeed, ground speed, true airspeed, altimeter, rate of climb, and of course we have our Garmin over here, which is our navigation. And we can go anywhere in the world with this GPS. We've got a dual band radio. We have roll trim. We have speed trim. This is where the helmets plug in. Keyed ignition, this is a dual magneto, just like you'd expect on an airplane. And all of our circuit breakers, just like you'd find on an airplane.
It's very simple. It's all right, literally in front of your face. The part I like the most is you can literally just trim off the flight.
Oh, there's nothing I love more than folding my hands, sitting back, and eating up a couple 100 miles.
Usage and speed. What does it actually cost per hour to run?
Once you've got the initial outlay of the aircraft cost, this engine doesn't need a rebuild for 2,000 hours. And in the meanwhile, all you're really going to need with this engine is mostly spark plug changes, oil changes, so there's very, very little maintenance to the motor itself. And then the wing is good for 1,500 hours. So if you start to divide all of that out, you're well in the $50, $60 an hour range, really considering all the factors of depreciation on the aircraft and things like that.
And the big question that everyone would be hanging here now, how much does a Trike cost?
This one right here starts at $75,900, and you can add a lot of options like the parachute's an option, and the speed wing and the roll trim that we talked about. And you can definitely get into the low hundreds with this one as you see it equipped here.
All right, so Larry, if you had 30 seconds to sell this to someone who wants to maybe buy one, how would you sell it?
The biggest thing we really didn't talk about is that this machine is simple, it's portable, but the most important thing is your hands are on the wing. It's this. If you've ever had that dream of flying like this, stick and rudder does not get it. You're feeling everything in your fingertips through your hands like a bird. And this is the purest powered flight here at Oshkosh.
Sounds so good, Larry, you're selling it. Where do people find out more about you here at Oshkosh, and also if someone maybe wants to buy one online?
Yeah, absolutely. evolutiontrikes.com, and we've got quite a following on our Facebook page, Evolution Trikes.
Yeah.
So I'd love to see you there.
All right, that link will be on the screen right now. Make sure you go check Larry and his company out. This is an awesome Trike. All right, thank you so much, Larry.
Thank you, and hey, it's nice to meet you. I've been following you. I'm a big fan.